Cancer loves acid.
Did you know that nearly 40% of people will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime? Knowing what to avoid can make a huge difference. Welcome to Nourishing HR, where we provide practical tips for a healthier, more vibrant you. Today, we're focusing on the foods that feed cancer, featuring insights from the renowned Dr. Barbara O'Neill.
The pH of the human body is important because at different pHs, diseases grow, and at different pHs, it's very hard for disease to grow. But in a cellular pH of 5.5, this is where disease thrives, especially yeasts, funguses, and cancer.
Dr. Barbara O'Neill is a renowned health educator and author, known for her extensive knowledge in natural health and wellness. With years of experience, she has dedicated her life to teaching people how to prevent and fight diseases naturally.
Let's have a look at acid-forming foods now.
Let's dive into the foods that feed cancer cells and why you should consider avoiding them.
These acid-forming foods are high in the acid-forming minerals, which is phosphorus, sulfur, and chlorine. So what foods are high in phosphorus, sulfur, and chlorine? Meat.
First on our list is meat, especially red meat and processed meats. These meats contain harmful preservatives like nitrates and nitrites, which can form cancer-causing compounds in the body. Studies have linked high consumption of red and processed meats to an increased risk of colorectal cancer.
This explains why Dr. Colin Campbell found he could turn cancer cells on and off like a switch by the amount of meat and dairy products he was giving the rats.
Instead, consider lean protein sources like poultry, fish, and plant-based options.
Refined sugar, it's very acid-forming.
Cancer cells are known to thrive on sugar. Refined sugars found in candies, sodas, and baked goods can spike insulin levels, promoting inflammation and providing fuel for cancer cells. High sugar intake is also linked to obesity, which is a risk factor for several types of cancer. Opt for natural sweeteners like stevia or small amounts of raw honey.
The hybridized wheat, the hybridization of the wheat created a lot more of the acid-forming minerals.
Hybridized wheat, commonly found in white bread and pastries, is another culprit. It lacks the nutritional benefits of whole grains and can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar levels, creating an ideal environment for cancer cells. Whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, and spelt are healthier alternatives.
Aged cheese. What's the blue in the blue vein cheese? The blue in the blue vein cheese is mold. So the only cheeses that don't sit under that category, the cheeses that have probably a pH of 7 would be your fresh. So that's your cottage, your ricotta. I'm not saying that they are okay, because usually they come from cows who have not been fed right or have chemicals in them. But on the pH scale, they're not as acid.
Aged cheese, while delicious, can be problematic due to its high content of saturated fats and sodium. Some studies suggest a link between high dairy consumption and an increased risk of prostate cancer. Consider reducing your intake of aged cheeses and trying plant-based alternatives like nut-based cheeses.
Caffeine. All your caffeine foods and drinks have an acid effect.
While moderate caffeine intake can have health benefits, excessive consumption can lead to increased acidity in the body. High acidity levels create an environment where cancer cells can thrive.
And of course, caffeine usually comes hand in hand with the sugar, which certainly ups it. And remember our 2.6 Coca-Cola, that's a combination of the caffeine and the sugar. Did you know that Coca-Cola is called Coca-Cola? Because I think it was in the early part of the 20th century, they put cocaine in it. And then they went over to caffeine, which is just as dangerous.
If you're a coffee lover, try to limit your intake and explore herbal teas as a gentler option.
Alcohol is not a food, but it creates an acid environment in the body.
Alcohol is another significant factor. Regular consumption of alcohol can lead to inflammation and liver damage, increasing the risk of liver, breast, and other cancers. It's best to limit alcohol intake and choose healthier alternatives like water infused with fruits and herbs.
Tobacco is not a food, but it also creates an acid environment in the body.
Tobacco is a well-known carcinogen. Smoking or chewing tobacco introduces harmful chemicals into the body, greatly increasing the risk of various cancers, including lung, mouth, and throat cancer. Quitting tobacco is one of the most effective ways to reduce your cancer risk.
All your other grains, other than the grains that sit on the alkaline side, all your other legumes, other than the lima, lentil and soy, and all your other nuts, other than the almond and Brazil, have an acid effect.
So does this mean we should remove all acidic foods from our diet?
To maintain the 6.5 environment, we need to be consuming 20% acid-forming foods and 70 to 80% alkaline-forming foods. And I'm sure you're not surprised to hear me say that the 20% should come from this section here. Yes, oatmeal is here. Yes, rice is here. They're not bad grains. We need a little acid. Yes, your chickpeas are here, and your garbanzos, your chickpeas, your black-eyed beans, your kidney beans. They're not bad. Of course they're not bad. We need a little acid. It's when the whole meal is acid that tips the scales. How many Americans would be eating 90% acid, 10% alkaline? Is that true? No wonder cancer and heart disease are neck to neck for the #1 killers in the world today. Far more people die from alcohol-related diseases. Far more people die from tobacco-related diseases. And yet they're not banning tobacco or alcohol, are they? And so when people come to us wanting help to conquer cancer, you see what we do? We suggest a diet that's highly alkalizing. We suggest ways to oxygenate the body. In fact, some health retreats have hyperbaric chambers. Have you heard of those? We have one, and it puts oxygen in under pressure. And we also greatly eliminate the glucose, the sugars going into the body.
While it's important to minimize foods that create an acidic environment in the body, you don't need to eliminate them entirely. Focus on incorporating more alkaline foods like fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. Maintaining a balanced diet rich in nutrients will help keep your body healthy and create an environment that's hostile to cancer cells. Comment below on which of these foods you plan to cut back on and any healthy alternatives you enjoy. If you want to learn about cancer-fighting foods, watch this next video here, where we explore the best foods you should include in your diet to fight cancer. For more practical tips and health advice, subscribe to Nourishing HR. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and family who could benefit from this information.